Hello there.
I thought episode 5 of Masters of the Air was absolutely sensational, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it was fantastic, and we have been introduced to a new character in Rosie Rosenberg, and he was mentioned in the comment section of episode 4, because at this time, I have just uploaded episode 5, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of his character, because I thought he was absolutely fantastic in episode 5. So what's going on, guys? My name is Elie Moses, a 24-year-old law and film student here from Sydney, Australia, absolutely shooting shot, and today we are up to part 6 of Masters of the Year. We only have 3 episodes once we finish this one, plus the documentary, and hopefully I'm looking forward to getting into Generational Kill. You guys have mentioned that show and recommended it. I hope it's good. And yeah, let's get into episode 6 of Masters of the Air for the time being. Let's see what's in store for us, and let's absolutely smash it. Let's go. Is this the countryside where Egan landed? The farmhouse? Yeah, Westphalia, Germany.
Amerikaner!
Oh, shit.
Amerikaner!
Oh, that's...
Hat eine Waffe! Dort ist ein Amerikaner! Hat eine Waffe!
Geht ins Haus und ruft die Polizei.
Oh, great.
Los, los, los!
This is a fantastic start.
Amerikaner! Da wollen Sie nicht töten! Wir wollen Sie nicht töten! Amerikaner?
He's got a clear shot if he wants it. Ultimate stealth mission vibes. But there's another one.
For you, the war's over.
Damn! That's a great start. Great start.
No more than 4 months at Fort Babbitt's until 32 of the 35 original crews were among the missing.
That's
We
insane.
did not talk about such crews.
320 guys missing. Or dead.
Those of us who continued to fly mission after mission had to tiptoe around their ghosts. Me? I was heading to Oxford University. Bubbles' death hit me pretty hard, and Colonel Harding thought it would be good for me to represent the 100th at a conference between the Allied nations. So he signed me up, and I was happy to go.
Changing scenery, forget about things for a little bit.
No, but I'm excited to be here.
Well, you may not have the time to see much of it on this trip. Between the lectures and the social events planned, it's very unlikely you'll have a moment to step off campus. We're just through here.
My wife, she couldn't stand the idea of a week going by without sending a letter.
How thoughtful.
Oh, has Subaltern A.M. Westgate arrived yet, my roommate?
Not until tomorrow, I believe. And we call them subalterns.
Subaltern.
Subalterns.
Right. Well, James, thank you for the tour.
Of course. Have a good night, sir. Enjoy the conference.
Yo, imagine the roommate is a girl. That would be like... Overturn. Say hi to Bubbles for me. Ah!
Munster was only Rosie's third mission, but it was so horrific that Colonel Harding ordered Lieutenant Rosenthal and his crew to spend a week of R&R at a place we called the Flak House.
They got horses. You ride horses, Rosie?
Jews from Brooklyn don't ride horses.
So with obviously some of the planes, with so much going on in the air, and you saw last episode with Rosie and his crew, being able to not being able to identify what happened to most of the planes, not keeping the logs in check, because you gotta, look out for your own man. You gotta look out for your own safety, and it's nigh impossible to keep the logs in check for nearly every crew and their members. Obviously, what you can see at the time, just try to remember. But with some people, possibly perishing in the air, some planes perishing in the air, and obviously the entire crew going, some obviously managing to jump and, parachute their way down. What happens, to the families of those who parachuted? Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty with whether they are still alive, prisoners of war. I'm guessing some families maybe found out that, or they were informed that their fellow family member had passed away, but maybe they were prisoner of war. I'm guessing maybe there were errors made, and just for them to turn up months later or at the war's end. So, I'd be interested to hear in the comment section down below what the process was and how long did they wait, for instance, for their soldiers or for their pilots to return. If there was, news of a shoot, or if there was in the news. Or if they were informed, in the interrogation that there had been a shoot scene, and things like that. I'm just interested to see. I'm curious to know.
Wow. Ladies.
Oh, rest and recreation gonna be fire.
Hey, David.
I love seeing this perspective of the war here.
Where you from? 381st. We fly together. You?
100. When we get a chance, you think you can run on that ankle?
I don't think so.
Ruhe da hinten!
Hey, Egan always looking for a way out, man. He reckons he can take them all on.
Zusammenbleiben!
Think our boys did this?
Looks like it just happened. RAF.
Shit. Fritz actually hit something for once.
Hey, oh, damn.
Los, los!
They captured and they still dissing.
Zusammenbleiben.
All right.
Zurückbleiben.
That's war for you.
Was ist denn da los? Warum sind die denn hier?
Amerikaner! Terrorflieger! Amerikanische Feiglinge! Verbrecher!
Verdammte Amerikaner! Ihr Dreckskerle! Beine! Ihr habt uns alles genommen!
Schweine! Zum Taster!
Bitte! Amerikaner! Terrorflieger! Okay.
Back off! Da gibt's sie! Da gibt's sie alle!
Bitte schön!
Ja, mach ihn tot!
Lass sie nach Flucht zahlen!
there goes the Geneva Conventions out the window. That's a war crime right there. I wonder if stuff like that actually did happen, or if that's...
May I come in?
I don't know, like, it's tragic seeing all his, like, all the other members die as well, but then having just Egan survive. I wonder if that's an ordeal that actually Egan went through in history, if that's actually factual right there, seeing, you know, taken prisoner, and I'm pretty sure probably he was taken prisoner, but I don't want to take everything I see as factual in this show, because even Band of Brothers in the Pacific got some, there were historical inaccuracies in that. But listen, I thought it was a fantastic start to this episode thus far, and I love seeing that perspective of the war, the frustrations of the citizens, those who just lost family members, children's fathers, daughters, mothers, from the bombings of the RAF. And obviously you immediately see the culprits of that, or, you know, those who are the enemy to you. And I understand the frustrations of the people wanting to do that. It brings out the worst of humanity, obviously. But yeah, it's just interesting. I wonder if that's, you know, dramatical purposes of the show, to have Egan as the lone survivor there, to be, you know, listen, if that guy had another bullet in his gun, bang, Egan's dead. So I wonder if that's just for dramatical purposes, to have him as the lone survivor.
Yeah, come in, come in.
Robert Rosenthal.
Yes. How did you sleep last night?
Fine.
Can be a strange adjustment. Most men need a day or two.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. I don't think this environment is helpful for me. I'd like to return to base.
Why do you think your CO sent you here?
What did he say to you?
No, I'm curious. What do you think?
There was a mission in the Munster. It was rough, but I'm fine.
3 missions in your first 3 days. 120 men dead in one afternoon.
I wasn't one of them. I'm fine.
It's the third time you've used that word, fine.
What's fine?
You're not gonna let me leave, are you?
Sure I am. In 5 days.
Thank you, Doctor.
I love those parallel storylines, in my opinion, where I think Rosie himself feels like a prisoner in space, despite being it for rest and recreation. And then obviously we have an actual prisoner in Egan.
Ich suche eine Stelle, diese Hunde zu vergraben.
Oh, so they presumed Egan dead.
Einer lebt noch. Mach ihn fertig. Klaus, ich habe eine Stelle gefunden. Gut, ich komme. Nimm eine Schaufel, hilf mir graben. Ja, ja, ja.
Three missions in 3 days. That I'm still trying to comprehend that. Like, you're up in the air for hours at a time, having to come back down, process what just happened, then go again a few hours later. That cycle happens again, and then the next day having to go again. That's actually, yeah, that's insane.
Freedom of the individual against the arbitrary authority of a tyrant.
It's nice to have a little fire. It gets cold up there.
Captain Crosby, I presume.
Oh my God.
Oh, don't worry, I've seen men in much less, Captain. Big family, small house, few doors.
You're...
Subaltern Westgate, your roommate.
Oh, it is a girl.
Oh dear. You expected a man, didn't you?
No, I just, it was... Yes. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
The ATS encourage us to conceal our feminine names, hence A.M. Westgate. The A is for Alessandra, Sandra for short. And the M is for a middle name I shall take to the grave.
We should report this to the bursar.
Well, I'm not bothered if you're not. I can see that you're married. Hopefully your wife trained you to leave the toilet seat down. Oh, in the mirror, was that Tracy or Gable?
Tracy.
Oh, I would have thought Gable.
Yo, she gonna be a vibe. Yo, Subaltern is a vibe. She got crazy energy about her. You know what I loved about that scene right there? With Rosie up in the early hours in the morning. He probably just waiting for that red light to pop up, if that makes sense. Remember, he was in the movie theater and that red light came. And then he had to go again. It's hard to, you know... Probably hard to reset your mind from that. When you do 3 in 3 days, you're expecting that red light to flash and for you to be called upon. That's why I think he wanted to stay on base, just to be familiar with the environment. And obviously, if he's needed to go, he's ready to go. But when you fly 3 missions in 3 days, your mind is programmed to be ready again for the 4th day, for the 5th day. You're expecting, like I said, that red light to come out of nowhere and start flashing. I could be wrong, but that's just my thought process right there with Rosie.
Nadu.
Egan playing dead again, man.
Steh auf.
They could have finished him off there and then and buried him.
Halt! Stehen bleiben.
Imagine Buck's here.
This chap. As young men, we would never have dreamt of trying to top a debutante. We turned to chambermaids and barmaids for our excitement. These Americans coming over would invite a duchess to bed, before even taking her to dinner.
I must respectfully challenge you on that. Chambermaids and barmaids feel they have no right to say no to their employers, but American men are persistent regardless of class. And forgive my language, but they'll pretty much top anything that moves.
Yo, Subaltern got crazy blue eyes.
Beyond how you treat our women.
They
It's your
stand
sitting in the
out.
streets, getting sloshed, brawling in our pubs. Perhaps if you simply taught your chaps a little moral discipline, they wouldn't always act as if they're away from home for the first time. Living it up.
Hey, this ain't Ja Rule, man.
Sir, each day could be their last chance to live it up. So,
thank you, Crosby.
I won't be giving them a lecture before they go on their weekend pass.
I'm not cocky enough to be a pilot, but you are a captain, so...
Another Brit put in their place. I was like, if this guy talking about scraps, the last time I saw a scrap between a Brit and an American, someone copped a left hook from Kurt. I was like, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All it took was one punch.
Navigator, bombardier...
Navigator. What exactly do you do, Subaltern Westgate?
Promise not to tell anyone.
Pinky swear.
Not entirely sure what that means, but sounds official.
The culture clash.
I'm a punter.
A punter?
What's that?
What's that?
Yeah, I just asked the same question.
Been punting since my days at Cambridge.
Really? You went to Cambridge?
They don't give actual degrees to women, though, if you can believe it.
What did you study? Besides punting, of course.
Oh, no, that's it. We're very specialised. Oh, be careful.
Oh.
Dear. Are you all right?
I'm all right.
Amateurs. Took me years to master the pole. It's all in the wrists, lad.
That's what she... Nah, I'm sorry.
You've never actually punted before, have you?
Sandra set herself up right there.
Gave me away.
You're a terrible liar.
Well, give me time. I'll get better. Promise.
That's not a good thing.
Yo, I want Sandra as a roommate. She like, she's straight vibes. Like, that's vibes, man. Like... Again with the owl hooting. Sleepless nights.
Good stuff here.
You mind if I put something on?
Well, have at it. Don't know much about music. I'm just working my way through the collection.
Well, this is what you're missing.
You play?
No, can't play a note. Mother and sister got all the musical talent. I know it sounds good.
Hey, as a man who started collecting vinyls recently, I love this.
Where are you stationed, Doc?
Norfolk. I'm a flight surgeon with the 96th.
Your group was on the Bremen raid with us.
We lost 3 forts. That was your first mission?
Lost a good friend. His first mission, too.
This war. Human beings weren't meant to behave this way. You disagree?
No. But you see people being persecuted, subjugated, you have to do something, right? They can't fight for themselves, can they? So what do?
Oh, you're right. We have to do something. Here we are.
No. This right here, this is exactly what you don't do. Croquet, riding with hounds, whatever that is.
It's fox hunting.
You don't go fox hunting. You don't go talking about it. You don't go crying about it. You get back in the seat and you finish the damn job. I was in a rhythm, you know?
I was talking about that before.
3 days, 3 missions, 3 wheels down. Boom, boom, boom.
You program yourself to...
It's like Gene Krupa.
Become used to that.
You don't stop Gene Krupa in the middle of a drum solo, do you? Or 2 weeks later, ask him to dip right back in where he left off without missing a beat, do you?
Maybe not, but Gene Krupa's got to think about more than keeping his own rhythm. He's responsible for the rhythm of his whole band, isn't he?
Never had it without rocks before.
In Scotland, we believe whiskey should never be diluted.
Where have I seen the actress that plays Sandra? She looks familiar. I don't know if she... I don't know if...
If you don't polish it off, someone else will.
You, keep in touch with your family?
I'm terrible at writing letters. I visit when I can. Geographically speaking, they're much closer than yours, but they still feel very, very far away sometimes.
There's just so much we can't tell them. Yeah. Because we're not allowed and because it's even...
How could they possibly understand?
Yo, I love this episode thus far. I know a lot of people may think, oh, there's a lot of downtime with certain characters. This is really boring. But I love that we're getting these perspectives of the war, obviously, with Crosby being sent to do seminars and things like that, and to process losing Bubbles. And then we have the rest and recreation with Rosie and his crew, and I like that we're getting the perspective of that too. It really reminds me of the Melbourne episode in the Pacific, with the men having experienced, I believe, was it Gloucester or Guadalcanal, and the events of that, and then going to Melbourne for a little bit of R&R, and get to see the streets of Melbourne, mingle with society right there, get used to the Australian culture. But at the same time, you gotta tell yourself mentally and prepare yourself to go back into the fire, to go back into hell. And I like how that show in the Pacific, in the Melbourne episode, dealt with that aspect of the war, and the same here, of the soldiers being programmed to do one certain thing, and you don't stop till that thing is done. But then obviously you had the Melbourne episode with them having some time away and then adjusting to some sort of normal life yet again. And then here you have Rosie, who's done 3 missions in 3 days. In what he was just saying to the doctor right there, you don't stop a drummer in the middle of his solo, and he was ready to go again for a 4th and 5th day potentially. No one should have to go through 3 missions in 3 days, but we know the circumstances of the 100th, what was going on at the time. And I like that we're dealing with those aspects of the war this episode, the psychological warfare for each individual human. I like that. I really like that, especially with Rosie. And he's I don't remember how long the soldiers stayed in the Pacific in Melbourne, but you see here, he's been told, okay, it's only 5 days, but those 5 days probably feels like a lifetime to him when you've been programmed to do a mission a day. And a lot of people may think, oh, it's only just 3 days. He's just in the air for 3 days. What's so big about 3 days? But those 3 days up in the sky probably feel like a lifetime. Those couple of hours in the sky feel like a lifetime. And then obviously you have the perspective here with Crosby and Sandra. And listen, if Crosby wasn't already married, I would ship these two. I would be the biggest advocate for these two to be a couple right here, because I absolutely love them. I think, listen, I love the injection of energy the actress who portrays Sandra here has brought to this show. And then obviously you have the prisoner of war arc with Egan. And I don't know if that's a little bit over dramatized with him being the sole survivor. I'm not sure how a lot of people would have taken to that storyline right there. I don't know if it's a bit unrealistic or if these are actual events that happened. And I'm possibly guessing, listen, he was a prisoner of war, but I don't know if the story has been over exaggerated with him being, surviving the streets of Germany right there, surviving the civilian attack, surviving again in the woods, and being alone with those 2 German soldiers and them taking him to the POW camp. So yeah, we'll see how it unfolds. But this episode's been great thus far.
Just go easy. I'm not much of a drinker. Last time I ended up on the floor of a hotel room with no boots.
Oh, do tell.
Oh, do tell.
Well, we were in London on a weekend pass, and Bubbles invented this game with quarters and boots. And basically, I ended up with no quarters and no boots. Well, from there, his story gets a little blurry. But the last thing I remember is spewing in the bathroom with Bubbles. And there was only one toilet.
Ugh, sounds very romantic.
Maybe I should just move this over here.
Is Bubbles a lady of the night?
No, it's my best friend. Bubbles is just a nickname.
Well, what we all need in life is someone to heave with, shoulder to shoulder. He must be a good friend.
Oh, he was, yeah. He went down last week.
I'm so sorry.
Just like that, the whole mood changes.
Give me all the time away. It was my fault.
How so?
I replaced Bubbles as group navigator. If he'd have been there to plan the missions, then maybe all those planes wouldn't have went down. Maybe Bubbles would still be here.
No. Your friend was on that plane for one reason, and one reason only. Because Adolf Hitler and his gang of thugs decided they should rule the world. That's it. That's the only reason anybody dies in this war. Been quite a day.
Let's part ways. Let's go to bed. Listen, the alcohol can do fantastic things. It can do disastrous things. Yep, call it a night. Exactly. Let's just remain great, great friends.
Herein. Major Egan, come in. I am your interrogator, Lieutenant Hausmann. Please, sit.
There's mud in your eye.
I don't know that one. Here's mud in your eye.
As far as what you're gonna get from me, it's gonna be name, rank, and
serial number. Yours is 0399510. Yes, I already know that. I also know you were born in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Married? From what I hear, definitely not. Squadron 418th Group, the 100th Bomber Group, H for Heavy, headquartered at Thorpe Abbotts.
They got good intelligence. How did they get that?
Are you a baseball fan, Major? Certainly that's not a national secret. Cigarette?
I mean, it was the biggest sport at the time, so...
Sorry, they are not as good as your American brands. Lucky Strike is my personal preference. Baseball is still a bit of a mystery to me. With all the sticks and bases, running in circles. There was the big championship last week, wasn't there?
Yeah, World Series.
Yes, the World Series. The New York Yankees versus the St. Louis Cardinals. A rematch, yes?
We were up 2-1 when I went down.
So you are a Yankees fan? Would you like to know the outcome of the World Series? Was Buck Levin a Yankees fan? No? Yes?
He wasn't a sports fan at all.
I hear he was quite a flyer. I read of his exploits in the Regensburg attack. He was your friend, wasn't he? It seems we're shooting down all the good pilots. Did you know that on your Münster attack, only one of your planes returned? One. But back to you, Major Egan.
Yeah, this guy rubbing it in, man.
I regret to inform you that you are, as you say, in a bit of a pickle.
Pickle?
We know you were originally apprehended near Ostbevern. But we don't have you in any record as a crew member on any of the planes from the Münster attack. The Gestapo would say that makes you a spy.
They would be mistaken.
One thing I can tell you, Major. The Gestapo is never mistaken. So I need verification of your group, your squadron, and your plane, so that I can confirm to them that you are indeed what you say you are.
John Egan, Major. 0399510.
Major, may I say that you're not doing yourself any favors? The Gestapo, they're different than me. Me, I'm like you, a flyer. A man of honor. And I can understand things in a way that perhaps my colleagues from the highly indoctrinated security forces might not.
I love this conversation right here.
like to talk to you about Buck Clevin, John.
He might still be
I'd
alive.
like to talk to me as well. The number of replacement B-17s expected at Thorpe Abbott's next week, for example.
Now he's not gonna. Yeah, exactly. Name, status, serial number. That's all you're getting, my friend. I was like, this guy kind of sounds reasonable, but I think he's meant to be portrayed that way to sort of manipulate Egan into giving information. Hey, seeing your boys have fun like that does bring a smile to your face. Yep. Juxtaposition cuts at its finest right here. From peace to utter chaos. We haven't seen the other two guys in a while. Was it Bailey and his friend? You know, the ones that were in France, I believe? Oh. Are they concentration camp prisoners? Why we fight?
Get in now!
Let's go, let's go.
Quick, now!
Come on.
Du sollst da reingehen! Geh in den Zug rein! Geh in den verdammten Zug! Geh in den verdammten...
Listen, it goes both ways. There were harsh treatments of soldiers, I'm guessing, from both sides. We saw the episode in Band of Brothers with Spears.
Hasn't even 100 yet.
What state is that?
Iowa.
Iowa. Well, surely something was there before 1846.
Nothing is still standing.
Yes, well, we will see what's still standing here when this mess is all said and done.
Now, is there a reason you want to tell me where you're stationed or what you do?
Yes. And if I wanted to think about work tonight, Captain, I would have gone to Sherry Hour with Professor Goodhart. Looks like a party. Shall we investigate?
Shall we investigate?
Yes.
Hey, Crosby, why are you looking at it that way, man? Crosby, you married?
Bubbles.
I'm guessing when you haven't been around your woman in that long, obviously, you just cannot stop the urges. Man, Rosie's gangster. I think the editing this episode has been the way the three storylines running this episode with Crosby, Egan, and Rosie have been cut together is really well done.
If it takes them to tear the fascists down.
But I guess this is good night.
Hey, look at the way she's looking at him too, man.
But are you not coming in? Did you forget there were roommates?
Oh, yeah, you know, I think I did, actually.
Subaltern, we've been scouring the college for you. An urgent message.
And just like that, you're caught somewhere.
What is it?
I have to leave.
Yep.
But now?
Indeed. Next time you're in London, ring me. We'll go dancing.
And life goes on.
If you're lucky, I might even teach you to punt.
I hear it's all on the wrists.
Just like that. He may never ever
What are
see
your
her
things?
again.
Oh, they'll send them.
That's not your bicycle.
Well, I'm borrowing it.
She's the female Jack Sparrow, man.
When you sleep.
After we win.
He's like, damn, I met a hell of a woman. Listen, he may never come to London ever again.
Here he is.
Hey!
Look at the episode in the Pacific, spoilers, with Snafu and Eugene at the end. When he, finally saw Eugene having a moment's peace and sleeping, he decided not to wake him up and say his goodbyes. And then you guys revealed in the comment section that I think he didn't see him or plan, like he didn't see him for another 36 or 38 years once he read his book. That's actually insane. It could be another situation here with Crosby and Sandra. They could never see each other again. And those highlights you have, those moments you have, listen, you just got to cherish them forever and remember them, because you never know when he's going to see her again. If not, never.
Oh, for what do we owe this honor?
We're almost out of this joint, and I'm after your cash.
He had a little honeymoon and it's over.
Hey, this is the guy I was telling you about.
Is he telling stories again?
Yeah, I've got a story. Our last mission over Munster. And then we hear it.
Is that what I sound like?
We're about to get our balls blown off when this guy hears this crazy bastard starts humming Artie Shaw out of the blue. And it was the strangest thing, but I gotta say, hearing his voice over the radio, that was the first time that I didn't feel scared shitless.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
He lost his fucking marbles. I knew that I wasn't alone.
Composes the man.
None of us were. 2 engines feathered, fire in the radio room, vertical stabilizers gone. No flaps, no brakes, no chutes. Bombardier flying the ship.
Yo, this guy's a unit.
Demanding instructions. So the tower hears all of this. They put their heads together and they think as fast as they can, because this thing wasn't going to be staying up in the air for very much longer. Flying control officer is thinking and thinking until he finally figures it out. Picks up the radio and says, "I hear you, G for George. Now here are your instructions."
All the
Repeat
boys
slowly
back
after
together.
me.
Except Egan. And Buck.
Our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Please.
You want to hear it again? Come on.
What a toast. I think the editing this episode has been tremendous. Really great stuff. Really great stuff. The way it's pieced
We told
together.
each other all kinds of stories. Some of them were true. Most were not. It didn't matter. Tall tales, music, laughter.
And we're back again with another
Irish
briefing.
whiskey.
We had our little honeymoon this episode.
We all needed something to help us climb back into that plane and do it
And as
all
for
again.
Egan, he going through hell, but that's the drummer. You don't stop the guy in the middle of his solo. This is he about to see Buck. I put 10 bucks he about to see Buck. The boys!
Glenn! What about O'Neill? Hey! How do you know folk made it? What? I said
John Egan, you're 2 o'clock.
Hey, that's a GOAT reveal. I don't care. I don't care if it's for dramatical purposes. Gangster episode. Hold that. That is so good. That is so good. Hey, I leave with my head held high. Hey, man, this show does. Oh, man. Gangster episode. That's all I'm saying. Hey.
Spend the best years of your wives.
I've never been so happy to see Austin Butler in my damn life. Hey, that was a good reveal right there. 2 o'clock. Oh, man. That's upbeat, man. I don't care if it's Hollywoodized, whatever you want to say. I like that right there. I like that. Listen, I like that. Starlight Glove 3. Is that? Oh, no, it might not be. Great wide shot to end the episode right there. Oh man, that was an awesome review. You see the smile on my face, man, right there. Like, I knew it was coming. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna fake out Austin Butler's death like that. And listen, they kept the doubt going for as long as they could. They kept it going for a while, but listen, the reveal was amazing. The reveal was amazing. And listen, this episode, ooh. Listen, I know there was no flying action or anything along the lines of that in this episode, but I think this is the strongest episode of the series thus far, episode 6. I just thought it was well put together, so well put together. Yeah, I just loved the three storylines we're following, and then obviously you had the two converge one another with Crosby being back with Rosie and his crew being back at base with the 100th, and then you had Egan, and listen, I had my complaints with the Egan storyline a little bit, but listen, that ending right there got me. That ending got me. And obviously you had the little honeymoon thing with Crosby and Sandra. I thought that was fantastic. I wanted more of Sandra, but I guess, we are left like Crosby, wanting more of her. And just when you want to see more of her and you think you're going to stay with her a little bit longer, she has to leave, and so does Crosby. Yeah, I think this was the strongest episode of the series, ladies and gentlemen. I thought that reveal was sensational. Now, I want to make a comment right here, and if you guys are listening still, with the POW camp, I want to, because I remember watching The Great Escape last year. I think it was last year. And that is one of my favorite films, man. I love The Great Escape. I thought that was so well made. And the conditions the prisoners were in The Great Escape, it didn't really feel like a prison, if that makes sense. Or was it that just one specific camp? Because I remember the name of the prison in that movie was different to the ones here. And I can't remember for the life of me whether the guys in The Great Escape were pilots, or ground soldiers, or whether they were a mix of everything. But listen, the camp itself in The Great Escape did look similar to the one here. And maybe it was the weather in The Great Escape, with a lot of it being during daytime, a lot of sunlight, and the prison itself looked much more cleaner, and it just looked much more pleasant in The Great Escape, and the conditions were far more better than what it seems like here. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'd just like to make that comment right here, and just maybe that was just a different segment with a different head of prison, if that made sense. So yeah, listen. Nonetheless, this was a fantastic episode of Masters of the Air, ladies and gentlemen. And I did not see the budget constraints this episode. I do not see the production budget being blown. I know a lot of you guys were saying, and I was reading the episode 5 comments during a little break I had recording this episode. And one of you guys was saying the budget constraints were a lot of it was due to COVID, a lot of stoppages in the production. And by the end of it, they had blown their budget. So, but listen, episode 6, no hints of that. I thought it was a fantastic episode. Displaying various aspects of the war that I'd like to have seen. And yeah, beautiful episode nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen. And we end on sort of a high note with the Buck reveal. I thought it was fantastic. Oh man, I want to rewatch that scene right there. I'm going to go back and watch the Austin Butler reveal scene right there of him, being at his 2 o'clock. I thought it was fantastic. Listen, you could say... Listen, you can make your remarks and say, listen, oh, it's, it's Hollywoodized. It's, meant to be this euphoric moment in the POW camp. But listen, I drew a smile to my face, just like Bucky did, seeing his fellow crew members and Crank being right there. Then obviously, I think the musical score added so much to that moment, making it so upbeat and uplifting. But listen, it drew a smile to my face, and this smile hasn't left this entire post reaction. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, it's been your boy Elie Moses. Take care. God bless. Peace.